welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Emily and I'm an aspiring fantasy author. Today we are talking about our 2025 writing goals. My personal lifestyle goals. I'm gonna give moving in silence a try, but when it comes to writing, where I really do want to use this channel as, you know, a form of accountability, I think it's going to be really useful to share some of those goals with you. We can chat through our plans, our strategies. Maybe you have similar goals, maybe you have different ones. Tell me all about it in the comment section down below. But for today, I thought it'd be fun to just go over all of the goals I have for both this channel and my manuscript in general, my writing journey, all together. Before we start, I just wanted to mention the template that I'm using comes from Brielle Writes. If you don't already, subscribe to her channel. But I used her template as a base, and then I've kind of adapted it to suit my goals. Okay, so I'm going to separate it out into two sections. So first, I'm going to talk about my high-level goals for the year 2025. So what I hope to do between now, it's January 4th, I believe, when I'm filming this. So between January 4th and December 31st, what I'm hoping to do. And then I'm going to zoom in on January specifically and talk about my goals for January and what I'm doing to help those goals become a reality. So I'm hoping that this will help prevent me from making these huge lofty goals and then not having any plans to go along with them, which previously has had obviously the opposite effect. I found it to be more overwhelming than motivating, and it didn't really work for me. So I'm hoping that this shift will help me to avoid exactly that. So without further ado, let's jump into our goals. This is my little Notion goals page. I don't use Notion a whole lot, I'll be honest, but I do really like it for goal setting. I find anything that I need to check on a daily basis or, you know, multiple times a day, Notion just really doesn't work for me. I like it, but it's not something that I use every day. So for 2025, or I should actually, let's rewind. For 2024, I really didn't set any writing specific goals besides start. And I'm happy to say that I am 1 for 1 on my 2024 writing goals, because obviously, if you watch my videos, you know that I've gotten back into it. I wrote a ton of words this year. I think my grand total ended up being like 50-something thousand. I'd have to go total it up. I'll put it on the screen. This is how many words I wrote in 2024. And in all years previous, I don't think I wrote anything. I think it was just 0 across the board. So I'm already in great shape, but I wanted to set some manageable, reasonable goals for myself this year. So in 2025, I want to finish my first draft of Project Stargazer by my 29th birthday. So my birthday's in August. I have quite a bit of time, which is nice. So I just want to finish this by my birthday. I think it's reasonable. I have 43,000 or 46,000. I always forget. Anyway, I'm in the mid 40,000s and I think it's going to end up being around 100K. So I'm well on my way. It's not a completely outlandish goal, but it is still, it's gonna be tough, but I am excited. Next part is to write 100,000 words. So I'm hoping to hit 100,000 words in my manuscript, but also I just want to write 100K this year. I only have one work in progress on the go right now, just Project Stargazer, but I'm hoping that a little plot bunny might find its way into my brain at some point over the next year, because I think having a second project will really motivate me. It feels weird to only be working on one thing, because I don't think I've ever in my life just had one project on the go while I was actively writing. So it feels a little bit weird. I'd love to get a second one, but I don't want to put that out there in a goal. So I just want to write 100,000 words over the course of the year. We'll see what happens. Next is to maintain a consistent writing habit. And I had to be really careful when I structured this goal, because if I would have said something like write every day, I know that's not realistic for me. I have a fairly demanding work from home job. It's a lot of thinking, a lot of writing, a lot of coordinating. And so I didn't want to put this pressure on myself to constantly be creating, but instead I've added a little caveat here. I want to write every single week. So every single week of 2025, I want to write, even if it's only for 5 minutes, even if it's in my notes app on the subway, on my way to meet up with friends. I just want to be making it a more consistent daily practice in my life where I feel weird if I don't do it. Going along with this, I want to write in new locations and take photos and document my writing journey. If you watched my November Writing Diaries series, you'll know that one of my goals was to leave my house and write outside of my house more than I currently do. I was successful, which is awesome. but I want to keep that momentum going. So that means like reaching out to friends, going out to coffee shops, libraries to write. And I think that would be really, really fun. And then I also want to take photos. So this is actually kind of a little bit of a bleed into my lifestyle goals too, but I found the last couple of years I haven't done all that much, and I really haven't been intentional about documenting my days or things that are happening in my life in any meaningful way. So since writing is something that I really want to take seriously, I want to document my journey so that I have something to look back on when one day, you know, fingers crossed, hopefully, I'm an agented author with a publishing deal. Okay, next one is a biggie, but it's kind of the theme, I think, for my writing this year, and that is to work on my craft. Because getting back into it has been humbling, to say the least. I'm really glad I did, but I think that early imposter syndrome and feeling really down on myself, feeling really dull, I guess, that I've like really not worked this muscle in a really long time. So feeling, I don't know, behind at 28 is like a really humbling feeling. And I know that I'm not going to get anywhere if I don't do anything about it. So I really want to be intentional, mindful, etc., about really cultivating both a writing habit, but also working on my craft as an artist. So to that end, I want to read 2 craft books. I have a couple in mind. I'm not going to share them right now because I want to make sure I like them first before I share them on the channel. But I have a couple that I want to read. I read Save the Cat Writes a Novel last year and Story Genius last year, and I really liked that. I think reading 2 craft books this year is going to be really useful just to see how other people do it, what their structures look like, finding little takeaways, little habits, sheets, organization, all that stuff. The next one is to take a writing course. So I have wanted to do this for honestly years at this point, but I never felt like I could justify the cost. So what I want to do is to find some online courses, resources first, give that a go and see if I like it. And then if I do, take the leap and take a course at one of the post-secondary institutions here in Toronto, or potentially somewhere else if it's an online type thing. I'm not really sure yet, but some sort of course, some sort of formal training, really just because I like that kind of environment. I know you don't have to take any formal training in creative writing in order to be a writer, but I do really enjoy that structure and that framework. I loved school growing up, so nerdy of me, but I did. And so I would love to revisit that classroom environment as an adult. I think it would be interesting, I guess, just to see how things have changed, how I have changed, and whether or not that still resonates. So that's on the list. I also want to attend a conference or a workshop. Ideally, I would like to travel for this. I think it would be really fun. That said, I know I'm so fortunate to live in a city that has a decent amount of writing resources, a pretty thriving literary community, but I would love to attend some sort of conference or workshop. You need to start researching. I haven't looked into it yet, but that is where we're at on that one. And then last but not least, I want to go on a writing retreat. So this could be solo or with friends. I haven't fully decided, even if that is just to a random Airbnb in Ontario by myself. I want to do something, so we will see. Okay, next one is to complete 2 writing challenges. I did this last year, so I did the July Camp NaNoWriMo, which is like a shortened version of Nano, and then obviously I did the November writing challenge in November. So I did 2 challenges last year. I know it's feasible for me. I really like the timed environment, so I think I'm going to enjoy doing that. So I'm probably going to do, maybe not the exact same months, but I think a similar structure. So like a smaller writing challenge and then the big bad in November. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And then finally, this one is the one I am most nervous for, I think, just because it will require me to be vulnerable and actually share my writing publicly with people, and that is to get a critique partner. I don't think that's going to be a front end of the year goal. I think that's going to be a much later goal. I don't want to get a critique partner until I have some semblance of a completed first draft, but it is, you know, in the back of my mind, it is something that I want to do. And I want to share more of my writing, whether that's in the form of getting beta readers or again just sharing with a critique partner. I'm always grateful to have constructive feedback, but I'm sensitive. Sharing my writing, getting that feedback, knowing people are there to help me make my writing better is really, I don't know, exciting to me. That's the macro level, and then the micro level is gonna be monthly goals. All right, so I've also organized my goals by month, and you'll notice that some of these categories are really densely populated and others are a little leaner. And that is mostly by design because I wanted to focus on Q1, so January, February, March first, see where I get, and then use whatever progress I make over the next 3 months to inform how I approach Q2, the next 3 months. So I've organized them out, again, using Brielle's template, but I've changed it. Hers is quarterly, I believe, and then mine is now monthly, just because I thought monthly would be a little bit of a better structure for me and the way that my brain works. So I've kind of broken them out by month, and then I've grouped a couple of little goals that contribute to the overall structure that I talk about in my yearly goals. Okay, so let's get into my writing goals for January. So I've broken it out into 2 sections. First things first, the actual goals themselves, and then the second thing is the plan to accomplish these goals, which is the piece that I forget all the time. So this is intentional, this is accountability. These are the steps I'm taking so that I don't have the excuse of, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, writing goals for January. I want to write 15,000 words, ideally towards my work in progress, but if I get another idea too, maybe that. Film and post 2 videos on YouTube. So this is one of those videos. The next one I think is gonna be like a cozy winter vlog, but we'll see. There's no snow in Toronto right now, so I don't know how cozy or wintry that's gonna be, but I'm gonna try. Continue to work on my craft, which is obviously one of my overarching goals, and then read 2 books in my genre, which is fantasy. And then the last one is to go on a writing date with a fellow writer. Now onto the plan to accomplish these goals. So we're gonna kind of go through pretty much systematically. I'm gonna reorganize these a little bit. So my plans to accomplish these goals. First one, write 15,000 words. So Brielle is hosting a Track Bear January writing challenge to be able to track word count. So, you know, to keep me accountable, I've put this 15,000 word goal into Track Bear and I'm actively working towards it. So I joined her Track Bear leaderboard. So actually I'm gonna check that off now while we're here, while I have it open. The next one is to film and post 2 YouTube videos. So I have planned my video concepts for January, which is the first step. And then as I record and post each of these videos, I can check those both off as well. Next one is to work on my craft and pursue training. So I've decided to start the year off by watching the 2020 lecture series from Brandon Sanderson on YouTube. I've also scheduled one, or I've tried to like create a schedule for watching it so I don't try to absorb all of it at once. So every single Friday at, I believe it's 7 o'clock, basically while I eat my dinner, I have decided I'm going to put on an episode and watch them. I'm not really taking notes. Maybe I should be, but I'm not. I'm just kind of passively watching them. But if I find them really useful, I might go back and take notes. So I scheduled times to watch these and added to watch the lecture series in my planner. So I'm going to check that one off as well. Next one, read 2 books in my genre. So pick my 2 books to read for the month. So this will help me know kind of what I'm working towards. I can say like, oh, I want to read 2 fantasy books, but there are thousands, probably even hundreds of thousands of fantasy books out there. So narrowing it down a little bit, helping make my goal a little bit more specific, will hopefully help me to make good on it. The 2 books I'm reading this month, you are actually sitting on both of them. So they're gonna stay there, but I am reading Little Thieves by Margaret Owen, and I'm reading Mud Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. So those are my 2 books for this month. I'm very excited to read them both. One I bought for myself, the other I got for Christmas, and I already have them picked out. And again, as soon as I read both of those books, I can check those off as well. So I did pick them, so I can check that off. And then finally, writing dates. So schedule a writing date with a writer friend. The goal is just to do 1 writing date, but if I get to do multiple in 1 month, amazing. Like I said, I'm trying to set the bar, not low, but reasonable. Just so that I'm not, you know, running face first into it and then wondering why I ever thought I could do this. you know. I have not yet scheduled one, so I won't check that off yet, but that is what my goals are looking like for the month of January. So those are my writing goals for 2025. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what your goals are for the new year, if you have writing goals. If you've watched this far, comment this emoji in the comment section down below. I think it's appropriate. I think it's fitting. But yeah, that's where we're at. Happy 2025. I hope everybody has a great year, that you had a great holiday season, spent with family and friends, and I will catch you guys in the next one. But for now, that's all she wrote. See you guys later.